Guys, so it's Andrew from Collective Intelligence. This is making a track from start to finish, and you're going to have noticed, if you've been keeping up with the series, that this track is a bit more advanced than where we left it. Unfortunately, again, I had a recording error whilst I was making pieces of the track, and what I'll do is I'll reverse engineer what I've made. So I didn't work on percussion or sub or any kind of sound design in terms of like mid-range basses or that kind of thing. What I ended up doing is making atmospheres, making a little bit of like percussion for like atmospheric percussion, and then making a quick little sound inside of Serum. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over all the techniques that I used, the thought process behind why I did what I did, and basically just reverse engineer it. Because I feel like my explanation of what I was doing is better than my explanation whilst I was doing it anyway, because I seem to get a little bit lost when I'm doing this and don't spend too much time actually telling you what I'm doing. So let's take a look at the Atmos to start with, and I will tell you how I got to this point. But first of all, we'll just do a little bit of a preview of how the Atmos sounds. I won't play the whole thing, but I'll just let you kind of hear a bit of it. So there's a shit ton of reverb on it, and that's making it even, longer than what it is. But basically, this atmosphere comes from a very big, long sample. And what I have done is I have gone on to Splice. So just a little shout out. If you want to support Collective Intelligence, but you also want to get something that's convenient for you, I do have a Splice affiliate link that's in the description below where you can get a Splice subscription. Let's jump over to Splice. Okay, so here I was. I basically went female vocal, because you can see it was typed in there, and I pressed enter, and I changed this actually to 140 BPM. It doesn't have to be exact. So 140 BPM. And I popped this on the key of the track, which is F. That's major. F minor. Why do I always do this? An F minor. Cool. And I shot through here and I listened to different sounds with the thought in my mind that once I found the sample that I really wanted, not that what I really wanted, but something that inspired me, I was going to go ahead and grab it. So I ended up downloading onto my desktop these. Right, so that one, and that one. And then what I did is I opened up something called Pulse Stretch. So Pulse Stretch is a software device that you can download. And this is the website where you can get it. And it's a very old school piece of software. And what you do is you open an audio file. So you load something into it. So I go to my desktop here and I can find like an MP3 or a WAV file that I like. And in this case, I took that Kara short vocal. And here I've got a slider where I can stretch it to be really, really long. So here I can stretch it 134 times, which would make it 4 minutes and 28 seconds long. And if we have a listen to it, so it sounds quite a lot like sort of atmosphere that you'd use in the track. So if I actually go here and I render that out, I'll use this, and we'll go dubstep Atmos, I believe 4. I don't think we used 4. Yep. So we'll render that. Basically, we just stretched a really long piece of audio out of what was very short. Once the rendering's done, we can close that. We can jump to my desktop. We can navigate to find it. There it is. I'll drag it. I'll drop it in here. I don't want to really drop it on any. Go down here. We'll drop it on its own channel here. And now I've got very long audio sweeps. And I'm not going to warp it. And all the way out. Okay, so to start with, we've got and then slowly evolving into this. So I could use this for a number of different things. For example, if I just cut a little slice out of it like this, and a little slice like this, let's say 1 bar long, make it even shorter. What I've got here is this sound. So if I put a volume fade on it, like so, I've just got a little sort of riser that I can use in my track that almost gives the illusion that something's about to happen. So if we play it, and we get it to the appropriate volume, that can be a nice little effect that adds more interest to the track. And you can see I've done that here with some of the other sounds. But I put a lot of reverb on that so it washes it over. Now, that's not the only way I use this. And I, of course, like I said, I didn't use this exactly. I had this big long clip. But basically what I did is I ended up sort of chopping parts out of it, like so. And let's just say this is all I wanted. Putting it here. And I was volume fading it in, volume fading it out, as you can see up here. And now I've got like a sweeping in atmospheric sound. And then if I put an EQ on it, I can take out a huge amount of the bottom end, which makes it more light and airy seeming. And if I wanted, I could even take a bit of the top off of it just to give it a bit more of an illusion of it being like a bit more of a darker sound. And then finally, if I really want to, I could run it into a reverb. And then that's going to, you know, wash it out even further. And if I get that at the appropriate level, that could be a really effective atmospheric layer in the back of the track. So that's what I've done with these vocals. And you can hear when I've stretched them out, this is what they sound like, because these are actually parts of her singing. So you can hear the notes. And if you really wanted to be very pedantic, maybe you would go and just check that they were, you know, playing a note that actually made sense in the track, and then you could transpose it just to make sure that everything was in key. We won't do that in this episode, but maybe if we're starting to notice that we feel like it's actually not sitting with all of the other elements, we'll go and do that. But that's essentially what makes up my Atmos. And then I've just adjusted the volume appropriately, and I'm just running all of it into a very long reverb, which is this reverb here, Comet, and the dry wet's all the way up. It's at a very high amount of decay, and the size is up as well. And the diffusion is at 100% because I really like it when it's diffused like this. It sounds much nicer to my ear. And that's what we did for the atmosphere. Next, we made some percussion, and it's pretty simple. If we get the kick and the snare and the shaker, you can hear the extra percussion I made to it, and it's just the same repeating motif. And what I've done here is I've grabbed a drum rack. So drum racks are under drums here. I can grab that and I can pull it onto a MIDI channel. And once I've got it on a MIDI channel, I can come down to my samples that I've got on my computer hard drive. And in this case, I searched for a pack that I've got called the Thomas Penton pack. And there's lots of percussion. And under here, I went to percussion various. And I just started listening through to a bunch of these. And I just sort of picked ones that I like the tone of. And I come up with these ones. Right? And then from that, I ended up just using 1, 2, 3 different sounds. And I've got that running into the medium reverb that we set up the other day, the Valhalla plate. And it's very simple. Just turn the volume down. When I go to mix the track, the volume of it will change and the volume of each individual hit will change. And I'll make it fit in the track a little bit better. But as of right now, it adds a nice little additional feel to that fairly simple groove. And we could have this varying. We don't necessarily have to have the same thing playing over and over again. But it just obviously is limited by how many rhythms I was feeling at that particular time, how inspired I was. So what I've got next following that is a little sort of, in dubstep, often you'll hear in different styles, these sort of laser-like sounds. It's not necessarily very laser-like, but it's kind of like a little bloop and blop. And often they use these sounds, I guess, just for a little bit of ear candy. And in this case, what I'm doing is I've got a saw wave, and I'm using the amp envelope just to shape the sound. So you can see here the decay timing, the sustains all the way down, and the attacks just at the default value. I've got a high pass filter here, and that's not moving. It's just sitting still. It's just there. It's just cutting out any lows. And then I've just got LFO movement controlling the pitch of the sound. So it's quite rapidly pitching from high to low. And it's just making a bloop sound. And we'll make something else to go with this in a second. But then it's just run into a delay. And that's just a Echo Boy 1/8 delay. But we might try and develop a dub delay or listen to some dub delays that could be superior. So what we'll do now is we'll take the MIDI note from there and we'll put it on a new channel. And we're going to open up a new instance of Serum. And what I might do is I might try making a similar sound, but instead of using a triangle wave, I'll use a sine wave, and we'll just see what we can come up with. We're going to do this one, let's say an 1/8 note long, and I'll grab the LFO and I'll pull it all the way. So it's just like a saw wave right now. It's just a ramp, right? And I'm going to apply that to the coarse pitch. And then in the matrix, I'm going to tell the coarse pitch to only work sort of from up down or from down up rather than back and forth. All right, so that's what that's back and forth. That's just moving sort of in one direction. So now if we solo it, so we can hear high pitched moving towards low pitched. And there's a bit of clicking and popping. We can deactivate that by the envelope. And we might turn this up. Turn it down. Turn it down. And we might adjust the travel. Okay, so, and by travel, what I mean is how far up the pitch is, like how far the pitches are traveling. We put some unison. Let's go ahead and use the high pass filter again, just to take out the lows. The most interesting sound in the world. Go ahead and compress it. Bring the gain up with the compressor. Distort it as well. We'll give it a little bit of tube just to try and make it a little bit grittier. Yeah. Give it a little bit of release so that there's not a pop on the end of it. I was hearing a bit of a clicking sound. Bit intense, isn't it? Give it -10. Right, so these are just little sort of ear candy. That might be a little bit overkill, you know. It's kind of interesting. It's very percussive, but a little bit tonal as well. Maybe we only need that once. That's just an example. Great. So let's go ahead and make another return channel, and we're going to call this the dub echo. And let's have a listen to maybe some of the presets inside of Timeless. Timeless, to me, has always had pretty interesting dub sounds. And what I mean by dub sounds is if I were to go and send, so I'm going to take the snare and I'm going to send it into the dub echo. Right, and straight away I'm getting that sort of characteristic sound that I expect from something that I'm very like loosely calling a dub echo. But if I come into here to dub, listen to the tail, that's very dubby. Not a fan of that. I like that. Got an interesting rhythm. Oh, I really like that one. Okay, so that could be, for example, the delay that we're sending these bleeps and bloops into. Let's have a listen to how it sounds. I did not have it on. Have a listen. Pretty cool. And we could have one dub echo. Maybe we could have another one. Dub. Because I actually quite liked the initiate patch, but I also liked, I can't remember which one I liked. I have to listen to them again. Send that. That's pretty interesting. And what we can do with that is we can actually automate the delay on that snare or rim shot or whatever we want to call it. So we could have it on, then off, then on, then off, right? And that would sound like so. Nice. And turn that down. So we've got some dubby echoes happening now that definitely give it a bit of a different vibe, bit of a different dimension. And that's what we want to keep sort of putting into this track, right? So I hope that you guys are traveling well with this series. And I'm ever increasingly wondering whether I'm actually teaching enough and whether I'm just kind of going through the motions of making something. So to give you a little bit about how I'm feeling, and then you can share with me in the comments about how you guys are feeling. So I'm feeling as though I'm happy with how the track is sounding and developing. I am very aware that a lot of the time you just need to make stuff in order to really get anything of substance. And that can be, in my opinion, for you guys, really boring to just watch me make stuff. And when I'm really in the moment and I'm making stuff, I'm not talking, I'm not teaching. So for me, it's quite difficult to always remain conscious of the fact that, oh, I need to actually tell you exactly what I'm doing. So I hope that you are following along just fine. Let me know in the comments what you think so far. I want to know how you feel so far. Are you feeling confident with what you're doing? Do you need some more help? Are you feeling like things are being glossed over? Let me check in with you, because I know that you can do it, but you may just need a little bit of special attention. So let me know, and in the next video, hopefully we can address some of it. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next episode.